No, thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, audio. Hello and welcome to Almost Football Legends, the video. 1995 was a great year for the Footy Show. We had numerous highlights. We saw Sam Newman in a tutu. Well, there must have been some others. Highlights too numerous to even remember. But one of my personal highlights was the new segment we instituted called Almost Football Legends. That's where we invited you, the viewer, to send in your home video footage of incidents that may have happened at local matches. And what a great response we've had. And we've compiled a collection of those seen on the Footy Show and some that weren't seen on the Footy Show for reasons that should become obvious. Now, being almost footy legends, we thought we'd get a bona fide legend to join us. And, well, we couldn't find one, but instead, Jason Dunstall is joining us. How are you, Jace?
I'm very well, Trev.
Now, this was your favourite segment on the Footy Show.
It was. I must admit, it immediately became the segment I most looked forward to every game. For sheer entertainment value, I think it was unequalled.
Well, of course, we saw a lot of spectacular highlights.
We did. There were some very skillful acts and also some acts lacking a little bit of skill, I think.
Well, of course, it's a different discipline playing league football as you do compared to what goes on there at the suburban grounds during the week, isn't it?
Most definitely. And I think if we have a look at some of the highlights, you'll see that we saw defenders flying for marks, which wouldn't happen in our game. And I'm pretty sure that some of the guys knew the camera was on too. They came from 6 and 7 deep.
All right, well, let's start by having a look at some of the great marks that were sent in during the year.
But he continues.
As we go to the tape, this is what it's all about, Jace. A couple of hangers.
Oh, Warwick Kappa, use of the hands.
Use of the hands in the players back there, but the umpire right on the spot doesn't see a thing as usual.
My heyday when I used to be up there amongst the stars.
As we come to Melbourne High versus Ajax and Peter Gertz. And didn't the boys up on the hill go up there? They enjoyed that one? Well, that's almost as big as you, Billy. Okay, and this one comes Xavier versus Collegian, and have a look at that for a grab. Simon Arnott. Simon Arnott there, and Simon's actually been drafted by the Swans, and that's a decent grab there, you've got to say. Queensland country versus South Australian country, and this is an absolute belter.
Watch for the number on the back.
Whoa, and very well done.
Yes, that's well done, Eddie.
That's a good grab.
Yeah, it is a great grab.
Hectorville versus Wackerville. Oh, sorry, Walkerville. And that is a very nice grab there by Maury Capurso. Maury Capurso.
Oh, nice landing too.
Grab. And Billy Brownless, take us through this one.
He kicks it high up looking for Brownless.
Anson Brownless from Assumption College. There it is. And where'd that come from, Bill?
That's actually me a few years ago, mate.
Is that right? And here we go with this week's bunch of legends, and check out this for a one-handed mark. Oh, I reckon Brian Lara would walk if he saw that. That's a good grab from Todd Pickering. That was.
Scoffer Davies.
This is Gaza versus
running out the outer
Saints.
Kicks out wide. Lee Hallam.
Gaza, yeah, you wouldn't want to play away there. Oh, there's not a bad grab. Lee Hallam.
He was up there, he stood there, he sat there, and he held the mark.
I think that just about sums it up. This next one comes from Geelong and District League.
Feed off to Alfred, who's moved up the ground. I'd say he's playing at centre half forward. Wholesale changes.
Troy Renfrey, there's a hanger for you, Jace. Loves the hangers.
He's taken an absolute spectacular grab here.
And the third one here, this is interesting. This is David Burke, one of your current teammates, Wayne Campbell, playing for Xavier last year. And a pretty fair grab that, although did he hold it long enough? What do you reckon, Wayne? Yeah, he'd play that.
Beautiful play.
And here's one from the under-11s. And check this remark. Oh, dear. And the...
Eric Cantona, wasn't it?
And the young player there copying one for his corner. And they do go in the under-11s these days, don't they? And here we go with the footy legends for this week, and a couple of big hangers to start off with. Firstly, Old Scotch versus Old Xavier. And here's Jeremy Laird. And that's not a bad grab at all. What do you think of that bouncing? That is a sensational grab, that one. Here's another one. Narry Warren versus Devon Meadows. And Brett Evans is our specky merchant this time. Oh, and got up nicely there. In from the side too, very nice.
Landing was a bit hard.
And here we go once again with the footy legends as we watch Joel Brown here. And not a bad mark by the young lad there. Let's just have another look at that one. Wow, it's very nice indeed. The second one comes from East Belmont versus Lee Districts. As we see the player go, gee, that's not a bad grab. Pity we couldn't see the ball in shot. Must have been shot by Channel 7.
It seems Channel 9 very anxious to push down the members' side there, Mark. How lovely kids in the big drop punt. I said, lovely. Mark, go umpire. Thank you very much. That could very well become one of the kicks of the century. But the mark. And that'll be the Avco Financial Services mark of the day, I'd say, at this stage.
Eddie Maguire's put on a quick lead, but that's ignored. He's gone into the true centre-half forward position. There's a big mark by Murray Bingham, if ever you've seen one. And he's best man on the ground by far and a heap.
Kennington Sandhurst v Maryborough in the under-15s. And not a bad grab. A couple of big boys in the under-15s down there. Yeah, not a bad hanger here. Carrier FL v Geelong District FL. And this is a good one. Ooh. You like that, Jace? Bit of a hanger there, mate? Baker. Well, Jace, big collection of grabs there. Some beauties too.
There were, and they wouldn't look out of place in our Mark of the Year competitions either, would they?
Absolutely not. And it's become compulsory now that there's got to be at least one video camera at every game out there now.
There are, and some of the players knew the cameras were on.
I've got to say, some of the commentators knew the cameras were rolling too.
Didn't they?
Well, mind you, we saw a few Jezelenkos, but we didn't hear any Richie Benos, I don't think.
No, some of them overacted a little bit on the voiceovers, didn't they?
Actually, I do a Richie Beno myself.
I'd love to hear it.
Well, mate, yeah, being a comedian, it's compulsory to have a Richie Beno impression. You actually get kicked out of Comedians Union if you don't have one. Mine comes from, it was a great game actually, it was Australia versus West Indies, and Dean Jones was batting, and he copped a short rising ball from Curtly Ambrose right to the nether regions. And Dino was doubled over, and he sort of had his mouth guard sort of half out, and he was biting down on it to stop himself screaming. And Richie's comment on that occasion was, Dean Jones, he's wearing a mouth guard, but right now, that's not of much use to him. Which is my favourite all-time Richie Beno. But, Jace, we also saw plenty of other stuff which wasn't so graceful.
Well, that's right. I mean, I think we've called this one fancy footwork, haven't we?
Well, you would have seen plenty of fancy footwork in your time.
I have. I mean, blokes like Darren Jarman, he was fantastic. He's as good as I've seen. Peter Matera, Michael Long.
Darren Jarman.
I do remember him well now, yes.
Well, of course, I remember Keith Gregg vividly running down the MCG in the Arden Street wing. And those blokes they made it look easy, don't they?
They made it look very easy, and we've got a few people that made it look just a little bit harder, haven't we?
This was actually taken from the Channel 10 v Channel 9 game here. As we have a look at a bit of the footage here as Jacko with the ball. He goes for a couple of bounces. Go, Jacko, have a look at him. Have a look at his style. And, oh, Jacko, you idiot. Very well done. Now, that's a piece.
Handball out, and who's got it now? It's young Winders Marshall. Can't get his kick away. Now, here is young Wayne Lewis. He has one bounce, drops it. By Christ, what's he do there, Jack? Bucket of wino, but if you're no good at football, he get a job in bull and circus. Never seen that in my life.
Now, coming up, this next one, it's one of my favourites. This comes from Crib Point versus Somerville, and beautiful stuff. Don't you love to see that? I think we've got to have a look at that one again. And yeah, play on's a call there. And here's one from the umpire training school, as we see the guy jogging back here and hasn't quite got it mastered. Never mind. Bit of an excerpt from Xavier versus Haileybury, and you'll see the Xavier player iron out the Haileybury coach there, just in your background, and there's one way to fix up the opposing coach. And it's an example of balance and poise. Look at that. There it is. You idiot.
What it is.
We go Romsey versus Kilmore. And we see a brilliant bit of play from the player here as he goes in and
It's a try.
Scores the try. Very well done there. Drysdale v Torquay, and the old full-back slipping over trick. There he is, perfect three-point landing. Have a look at that. And away we go. And here we see the bloke, the big slip. And have a look at him go. What a shame. He taught himself how to run that bloke, never mind. He does bounce too, really. He comes from Port v Springy, as we see the unbelievable footwork from the Port Melbourne player in question. And beautiful. Oh, but did a nice job to scoop the ball out afterwards. He's just the engine room down there at Port. Here's 3 cheers for the umpy. Check out this one.
In the head.
Preparation.
Oh, and he's not going to bounce it.
That's just play on, that apparently. Oh, very nice indeed. Now this one, it's like those American shows where they say, look out for the surprise ending. See if you can tell what's going to happen to this bloke as he runs for the ball. And there he goes. Wouldn't have tickled there, that's good commitment.
He's after the ball.
Yeah, Don Scott would have been happy with that.
Yes.
Ball comes to the ground.
Yeah. So you keep your eye on the goal umpire.
Exactly. He misses the ball, but what's that goal umpire?
Oh. KO'd himself.
You know Lee Matthews, is he?
Oh.
Into the point post. A very, very nasty incident.
I wonder that doesn't happen more often.
Lee Matthews, he might have broke the point.
Because they know where the
they are blind.
Attack. Sammy Bruno's there to mark.
Oh, give him one to go on with.
Which is a nice start.
It gets better though.
There's a bit of
quick kick out.
There's an attempted square up.
And, the elbow comes out.
He gives him one.
Oh, the umpire, which one's he going to pay? Oh, apparently, okay,
Yeah,
fair
bloke
enough.
that's unconscious.
Yeah.
Whoever's worst hurt gets the ball.
It's always the safe way. Give it to the unconscious bloke.
That's a fair bump too.
He'll be able to do something with it. We have a look at an incident from the Yarra Junction versus Seville match, and you see the player come crashing into the goal post there. Very unfortunate incident, and down like the proverbial sackful. Now, of course, in footy, your evasive skills need to be tip-top.
They do, and you should also pick who you're trying to take on.
Exactly.
I think he could have picked the big one, and he wanted to have a second go at him.
Now, that's riding the bumps with a grin.
It wasn't a soft landing either.
As we see...
Now, I reckon this bloke's soft, this goal
umpire. It's a soft performance from the goal umpire, you know.
Ball's hit him in the stomach. He's forgotten whether it was a point or a goal. He's just worried about himself.
Well, you know, goal umpires, they're not as hard as they used to be. Are they?
Oh.
They're not. Oh.
And Robbie Muir, not happy.
It's an Academy Award performance, that.
Good ungamely looking fellow.
As we see it now, here's a good... Yeah, if you're defending, push the goal umpire over. He won't know what's going on.
He won't see it, exactly, and then pick him up and apologise.
But the boys sitting around the ground in the cars seem to like it. St Peters versus Glen Waverley, and resembling ballet here, it's the Nutcracker Suite. There it is, and in a little bit of trouble too, the young kid there. Oh, not very pleasant. Bit of Lee Matthews revisited. Collingwood versus Fitzroy under 19s. Jason Kroll, shirt fronting the goalpost. Ouch. Now, Don Scott would have said that's good play because he had his eyes on the ball. There it is. Ouch. Thank you very much.
Come on, Chris!
Solid contact.
Oh, off the ball.
Good shepherd. Good shepherd.
Nice shepherding. Pity the bloke couldn't pick it up.
Oh, here's the girls.
Here's one from the ladies' game. And if I may say, that ain't no lady.
She's fighting out of her division there, isn't she?
Oh, she's well out of her division. I think they got to look into that one.
Ooh. Well, Trevor, it's great to see the women playing the game, isn't it?
Absolutely.
But that old adage still stands true.
What adage is that, mate?
A good big woman will always squash a good little woman, won't she?
Well, there's another adage, of course, white men can't jump, but they do bounce.
Oh, don't they? And that big fellow that bounced, I mean, in particular, the slow motion replay that we see here.
Well, it's great the way he shows him the ball there.
Oh, that was full of skill, the bounce.
I think it's just ambition outweighing ability.
I think he's lucky that his stomach hit the ground before his head did. It just took a little bit of a...
It did cushion the blow
out of it, yeah. Still,
and of course, the other good one there was the bloke running into the open goal.
Well, possibly the most embarrassing thing that could happen in football. Running into an open goal, clear, under no pressure, and tripping.
And, well, he scored a try, really, didn't he?
But I felt for the guy. I can remember one incident when we were playing Essendon, I think it was. And I didn't actually run into an open goal, but the ball was bouncing on the goal line. It bounced about twice. I think I've had 4 air swings, and then it's trickled through for a point. I never got bootlace on it. So I know how he feels, but I'm glad it wasn't that bad.
It's good the way they use those sort of highlights in all the ads too, isn't it,
don't they? Just so you can relive your horrors.
Blokes get 1,100 goals in AFL football. We'll show this one.
Yeah, we'll just show these 4 air swings for a moment.
Yeah, beautiful stuff. But, of course, I had a lot of people ask me during the year, Jace, about the incident. The glass of water incident with Sammy, the Sookie Lala incident.
Well, you had a lot of people. How many do you think I had?
Well, yeah. Well, tell us, were you fair dinkum? Did you turn?
Well, let me ask you first. I bet you the majority of people that spoke to you thought I was deadly serious.
Yes.
I think 98% of the people that asked me thought I was serious. And I can honestly, without a shadow of a doubt, say that I did my utmost to prevent myself from bursting out with laughter. I had to, and if you have a look at the highlights, I'm like this a bit. And I kept biting my finger because I was about to burst out laughing. How can you be mad at Sam? I mean, it's impossible.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if you were serious or not, but it was definitely good for football. Well, mate, let's go to some of the hold-ups, some of the incidents, like the glass of water incident, which have held up things along the way.
Now, there's a little bit of a stoush going on here, Trev, but watch for the follow-up.
Well, this is one of the ones that we couldn't show you during the year.
That's right.
And you're about to see why. Now, the melee, we see the guy in the Hawthorn jumper at the front.
Now, right here, the bloke...
Bit of taunting, and thank you very much.
I reckon the bloke in the red jumper, as soon as the other fella started running at him, he just realised right then and there he'd made the biggest mistake of his life.
And, of course, it's on for young and old. Would you call it... Is that a melee, Jason, or is that more a Donnybrook?
That's a good old-fashioned all-in.
That's your all-in.
Well, now the trainers are into it, the umpires, everybody.
Well, pretty soon the crowd will be into it. And it's one of those ugly incidents that, well, they're a blot on the game, but, geez, they're good fun to watch, aren't they?
You're having trouble getting one of them off.
Well, exactly. As you see, the crowd start becoming involved, and that's where it becomes frightening, Joe.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the whole point, you know, the two teams wearing different jumpers. So
And I think it's all over. They're all throwing the arms up, and that would just rub salt into the wounds, wouldn't it?
As we now go to Perth versus Hagley here, and we see the #1 player there for the side of the Footscray Johns get reported and gets a tongue in his ear.
Merv Hughes.
Which has gone the Merv Hughes on him, and he doesn't seem to like that, the player there. He's had it. No, he's off. Bloke's going to kiss me, I'm leaving the ground. That's all there is to it. And an amusing bit of play from this player. And as we come across... there we have it. And not bad. Well, yeah, imagine if it had been a hard goal.
What a sensation. We've run out of cans. There goes the whip. He's the runner. He's gone for the cans. Co-commentator. Heading over towards the can tent, making good ground at this stage. 6-4 favourite to get 4 cans too. And he goes. Moving into the crowd. You can just see him going in now. Over the fence. Comes to the hurdle. He goes through. Dashing through. You can still see his head going. That's a desperate man. Over to the can tent. He'll get 4 or 5. Here comes the whip. Have a look at the whip. He's got 4 bumps. No doubt he was never going to rest. He's pretty busy about it too. Making good ground through the back pocket. He comes on a half-back flank. He has a bounce. Picks it up again. Bursts through a tackle and look at the whip go. He's got 4 for 4 FL. And he comes into the back up to the truck. Main commentary position.
You idiot. As we come now, Jace, it's always the way, you know, there's a bit of pushing and shoving here, and there's always one clown.
That's right.
There's one bloke that comes in and starts, there he is, look at that. You know, what's that supposed to achieve?
Good way to start annoying, isn't it? I reckon his boots have copped a couple of his teammates too.
And it's on again.
Not quite the 8 seconds for a proper ride, was it? But a good effort.
But the red light went off and he heard the bell. Okay, and this week's Legends, look closely, it's a bit of a rip-off here. Karen v Rosebud. And we see the player come in and, oh, you may have just seen, and that's right, dacked him. Oh, very well done. Oh, ball, yes. See, and this is the Shark Shuffle. The Deakin University Sharks. They perform this ritual after every winning game, and over the last 20 years the Sharks' record is 57 wins, 269 losses, so every now and again they perform the Shark Shuffle. Eddie.
Don't forget Arthur Murray to teach them to dance every now and again anyway.
Bunbury versus Kerry Park as the boys are about to run out for the grand final. And I think that all goes well for your grand final hopes. That's a big lift for the team. Really, and have a look at this one. And the City Ladies versus Scotchtown Ladies and a pelican on the field. What the bloody hell?
It's a bird, mate. A bird.
The best looking bird on the ground.
I think it's most amusing. Right, Kilburn versus Port Districts here, and we see a bit of a exchange between the two players here. And nice to see it on the football field. And this one, and it's a new slant on the game, nudie football, and we'll pick up the commentary here. Watch this guy swing onto the right foot.
What's he doing there?
The man with the balaclava.
James Holder.
The grandfather clock's got no problems, ladies and gentlemen, and kicks a goal.
He's drilled the depths of the goal.
There's a bit of swing out there that's very awkward.
Fantastic stuff.
Jesus, believe.
And there was not a fit backside, Eddie. I reckon you'd show a drive-in movie on that.
Full marks for a magnificent sausage there, wasn't it? Great goal.
Well, Jace, that certainly was a sausage.
Now, I must say one thing. If you're a streaker, you certainly put your pride on the line, don't you?
Well, I've got to say, how was the kick, though?
Well...
He's drilled it 60 yards with the bare foot.
Barefoot and through the high diddle.
Fantastic.
Unbelievable.
Now, mate, what about yourself? The football show, how's it been for the players, you know, as far as the public's concerned? How's the reaction been out there?
Well, look, I can say that I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I think from a public point of view, they get for the first time to see the personality of the players. They see them in a different light.
Which can be a good or bad thing, depending on who.
It can. Again, that's up to public taste. Some of the people will like some of the players' personalities and others might be a little bit offset, but at least they get to judge them rather than just watching them play footy on the TV and thinking, well, I wonder what sort of guy he is. Well, I remember talking to Dougie about it one time, and he said that after 17 years of playing football, he finally gets recognised in the eastern suburbs. Well, I think after Hawke's efforts on the last 2 years of the Footy Show, I think he'd probably be one of the most recognisable players playing the game. Oh, absolutely, no doubt about that. And if you don't recognise him, you just have to listen for the laugh, don't you? Exactly. Well, of course, you two have gone into other ventures together, the pizza ads. Oh, mate, it was funny doing that, I've got to tell you.
How many takes? Come on.
Well, it took a few, but I can... this is fact. They had to tell Doug to stop laughing so much. They had to tell him to stop? They had to keep telling me to smile a bit more and Hawke stop laughing too much. Well, one of my favourite stories about the Hawke was when he was going to address in town at 65 Collins Street. He's rang up Eddie, he said, I can't find it. He said, where are you? He said, I can see 64 and I can see 66. He said, what's next to 66? He said, 68. He said, can you see a pattern emerging? It's across the road, you idiot. Well, he never claimed to be the brightest of people, Hawke, did he? But he always enjoyed his football. And certainly been an ornament to the show. Oh, he has been, and I think everyone's identified with him too. Well, some more than others, of course. Well, let's have a look at some of those other incidents that we found hard to categorise, quite frankly. Well, they're, yes, far too widely incredible to be put in the one batch, aren't they? All right, we'll see what you make of these. As we look at the first one here, as we see Keegan, number 8, picks up the ball. And nice highlight here, as you see the player on the ground, beautiful ball skills. Just a shame that his teammate there couldn't cap it off by picking up the handball as he went past. Oh, it was a good try. Oh, you idiot. And this is a very nice one here. This is from Parramatta Goannas versus Manly Wolves. And we're looking for Peter Taylor in the goal square here as he takes the ball and... Okay, Assumption versus De La Salle. Not a bad little goal, this.
Brett Money going through strong this time. Puts it on his right foot.
And, don't tell me he's kicked it. Yes, he has. Very nice goal there, Brett Money.
That is pure all-right at skill.
Now, this, I reckon this is a contender. Have a look at this. This is the 1, 2, 3. Here we come. We see the play there. Nice grab on the one hand. Oh! Have a look at that. It had everything. It had the great mark, it had violence, and a sausage. You've got to be happy with that. Here we go, and still a free arm to iron the bloke. And that's all very fair, I suppose. Here we go, fullback kicking out, and puts it through for a point. You absolute legend. No, almost about it. Well, he's done it again. He's done it again. This could go all day. Okay, Denny versus Finley Legends. Fittingly enough, and the umpy takes a screamer. Oh, he threw it like a hot spud. Oh, yeah, not a bad Here we go, Littlehill versus Bennettswood, and a bit of Maradona here. Have you see off the ground once? Follows up off the ground twice. Off the ground again. Oh, beautiful play. Look at the skills there, Maradona, and goal! And this one comes from from a game between Perth and Hagley Reserves in the Tasmanian competition.
Doing it well. 20 players still fighting.
And I know we've got the Univo versus Newborough. And as we look at this star coming to goal, there's a bit of a bluer up there.
By Butler as he goes 3 bounces forward.
Oh, can't handball, you idiot.
In the meantime, he just takes all the
And
time.
misses. You absolute star. Okay, as we come to this one, we see Darren Hodge is about to star here for the Magpies. Perth v Hagley here, and we see Hodgie is actually running the wrong way as we speak. And he drills a beautiful pass to the opposition full forward. Sensational play. Ed, you can imagine now, this is an interesting one here. Waiaya versus Waiai. Thanks, Billy, versus Old Blighty. And we see here, this is the grand final here. We see number 5's been given the free kick for the too high tackle, and the 50 metres has been paid. And the siren's gone, and the Blighty guys, well, there they are.
They're happy,
it's a reward for a hard year's slog. They've done very well, the Blighty boys. Congratulating each other. Don't know what's happened to the free kick, but never mind. Good on you, the boys at Blighty. Bit of celebration here as we see. Hang on, what's this? Free kick is about to be taken, I think. We see the Blighty boys still celebrating.
The Blighty boys are going off.
Unaware of what is about to happen.
Now, one of them's caught wind of it there. Here they go.
Oh, they've run down. Something's going on. And here we see Blake running in to take the kick. From 50. And from outside 50, 5 points down. And we see the Waiai boys. Things are fluctuating fortune for the Blighty boys. Never mind. Well, there it was, Jace. The agony and the ecstasy.
All in the space of a couple of seconds.
Those guys got to know the thrill of winning a grand final for 30 seconds.
And because I think...
And invaded the field and started...
Nice kick.
It was a great kick. Now, what about those other two? The last 3 there were all sensational. Had the bloke streaming into the open goal, having 6 or 7 bounces there, and the full forward calling for it.
Well, I would have shot him. I mean, the full forward's on his own. He's run 40 or 50 yards with no one behind him, no one near him. He's got a bloke backing him up. He's then mucked up the bounce, picked it up himself, and thought, I'm too tired to keep running, so I'll just kick it from here, 10 yards out directly in front, and missed.
Well, I hope the full forward wasn't on 99, that's for sure.
If you had a look, I think the full forward started to walk towards him to say a few well-chosen words.
And what about the other one, the bloke streaming down the ground in the wrong direction?
Well, that was just fantastic.
Now, what I want to know is, how did the opposition full forward know where to lead to?
Well, as any full forward knows, it's instinctive. It doesn't matter who's streaming down the ground, Trev, you lead, and you lead hard. He just delivered it perfectly, didn't he?
Now, mate, you're one of the great exponents of the mark, especially the chest mark.
Oh, very good at the chest mark.
And we're going to have a look at some more of the ones that came in over the head.
Yeah, well, look, I wish I could jump as high as some of these guys. I just can't. I mean, truth be known, I can't jump over a jam team. That's why I always play in front. It's just that I don't have any choice.
Well, I did see you out one night, and you told me about you said you'd taken the mark of the year that day, and I saw it, and you did get probably a foot off the ground.
A foot off the ground, yeah. Well, that's big news for me, but some of these guys just put me to shame.
All right, well, let's have a look at some more of the big grabs that came in. OK, let's kickstart the legends for this week. Robertstown versus BSR, and not a bad grab, that one. Yeah, we'll pay that. What do you say, fellas? Yep, not a baddie. This one here from West Preston, this is probably a bit better.
Ball comes in just inside the
yeah, very nice grab.
A great mark there, the mark to John Rinaldi.
Yeah, good delivery into the forward line there. Be happy with that, Jay. Old Paradians v North Old Boys here, and this is a grab. This is right up there in contention.
Good kick.
Oh, very nice indeed.
Half-forward line. This allows Miller the chance to come up. Miller for Northcote Park. Kicks out onto the centre wing. Up they go. Oh, what a ripper. Much. That's Casey, the man they didn't pay before. We got this one.
And a couple of big grabs here. Hayfield v Sale. This is Colin Cox. Not a bad little one there. Coxie, well done. And Adrian Nellis from St Albans.
St Albans. Geelong, mate.
Oh, very nice.
St Albans, did you say?
St Albans.
St Albans. That's a specky. As we see, yes, not a bad grab there.
Perler of a mark. Now he's hand played on the handball.
All right, here's one, Mount Whaley versus East Bentley. Scott Day. And looking like it's Isos, the illegitimate son of Serge. There he goes. Not a bad grab there. Devonport versus Wynyard from Tassie and Stephen Phoebe. There he is. Yeah, might have a bit of a future, that boy. What do you reckon? Phoebes, there he is. That must have been a couple of years ago. Teal Cup. Next one comes from the old EDFL. Good luck to all the boys down there. East Keeler versus Strathy. And a bit of a hanger here. Very nice grab. Mark Spence taking the grab there. We have another look. Oh, yeah, that's a nice grab. Next one comes from Montrose v Clayton and Shane Lewis with the hanger there.
Shane Lewis takes an absolute
Very nice
blinder.
indeed. What do you think of that one, Gaz?
Very happy with that one.
What a
Pretty
grab.
happy with that? Donvale versus St Paul's, and the unidentified player takes a pretty good grab. Maybe pretty happy with that one. Up there. Another good one here, Julian Kersner. There he is. Mount Scopus versus Kingswood. Nice suits. Here we go. Julian Kersner now with Essendon. Sean Miles taking a bit of a grab from the kick out.
79. It's Cook, he kicks out. He's just deep to the half-back flank now. Looking, oh, what a
And
mark
yeah,
there
that's
by
fair enough.
Sean Miles got up a mile there appropriately. And that was a specker right over Steve's
Waxing
toes
lyrical there, a specker in fact. Powertown versus Croydon. There we see young 15-year-old Paul Cooper in the open age there. And nice little hanger indeed. Another 15-year-old there. And came down hard. Ouch.
Oh, has he got a broken neck? Oh.
See, that's why you never get up that high, Jason. It's just a good idea.
Here's his kick. It goes long and high. He's in towards the square. Let's see what they can... Oh! The showstopper! What a mark! And that's just typical of the showstopper.
Albion v Sunshine here. And we see Steve Dolly. Steve Dolly Parton with that one there. And stays up there. Very nice. Now, that was a huge hanger, that last one, Jace.
Oh, enormous. He hung up there for an eternity, didn't he?
It was like the old Trevor marks.
I do remember that, the old sensational 70s video. I've had a good look at that one, the long sleeve #1 from St Kilda with the long blonde hair.
Or the big Gary Ablett.
Yeah, well, actually, it looked a bit like that too. He sort of came off the side, twisted, took it one hand, but I'd venture to say he held it perhaps a little bit longer than Gazza did.
Now, mate, we've had some good fun on the show during the year, and as I said, we had plenty of videos sent in that didn't make it to air. Now, but while I've got you here, though, I wanted to just ask you about the younger viewers. What can you say to the aspiring legends of AFL football?
Well, I mean, we've seen a lot of guys rising to the peaks of the game and taking the great marks and all this sort of thing, but a lot of hard work goes into actually getting there. I think one of the things that was always said to me and still stands true is that you should always at least, if you're going to be a footballer, look like one.
Mm-hmm. So you've got to have the right equipment?
You must have the right equipment. Pull the socks up, tuck the jumper in. If it's a wet day, you wear the long stops, you wear the short stops. You know, you must adapt to the conditions.
Well, because your equipment does make such a big difference, as we're about to see from this piece of video footage that was sent in earlier this year.
I thought we'd done it all.
Now, just take us through here, Jace. There's an AFL legend about to have a kick, and...
So I was actually giving the kids a demonstration of how not to kick the ball.
Now, I think the official part of proceedings that day having been completed, the boys had a couple of looseners afterwards, had they?
We'd had a couple of quiet ones, and we were actually... that was a cow paddock we were in. It was a bit wet, and I had the trusty old Blundstones on, and then tried to kick a 147-metre torpedo, which was fairly sensible.
Well, you kicked about a 40-yard torpedo, and you got a pat on the back for it.
Yeah, I got my just desserts, didn't I?
No, it's fantastic stuff, mate. Now, you didn't want us to show that during the year?
No, well, I'd rather leave that till the end of the year. I mean, we're concentrating on footy at the time, and you don't need to see that sort of thing.
Well, do you find that makes a difference to you, appearing on the Footy Show? Does that mean that you don't take your footy as seriously?
No, I've had a lot of people actually raise the fact that because you're in the media that it's distracting and detracting from your football performance, but it's no different to any sort of job that you have. I enjoy working in the media, and the fact that I'm on a light-hearted show like the Footy Show or talking on radio or whatever and having a joke doesn't make me any less serious or less dedicated about my football.
Well, of course, working in the media, it beats working.
The Clayton's job, it's fantastic, isn't it?
It's pretty good. Well, mate, thanks very much for coming down today.
It's been a pleasure.
Of course, Almost Footy Legends will be back, bigger and better than ever in '96. We'd like to thank everyone that took part in '95, and if you want to get your videos in early for this year, then send them to this address, PO Box 800 Richmond 3121. That's Almost Footy Legends, PO Box 800 Richmond 3121. Well, Jace, over the previous hour we've seen plenty of Dills make legends of themselves. Well, now we're going to see a few legends make Dills of themselves. Because our theme tune, It's More Than a Game, which takes us out every week, we see the players miming to the theme tune.
For good reason, miming, Trev.
And we're about to see why, and hear why, as we hear the actual audio of It's More Than a Game.
All a fortune on fame.